to a man with a history of erratic behavior. One of the kindest words that might be used to describe Mr. Hegseth is erratic. He has a clear problem of judgment, as you've seen by his statements. What if he shows up inebriated during a crisis? What's going to happen? This is dangerous. Pete Hegseth really the best the Republicans have to offer? How low has this party come in making him the nominee? I don't believe he's the best. I don't believe he's close to the best. I will be voting with complete conviction, no. With his nomination to be OMB director, Donald Trump has made it official. Project 2025 is coming to the White House. Today, the Senate will vote to advance one of the most unqualified, erratic nominees for a major position we have ever seen in America. No position in the cabinet carries the weight, the responsibility of Secretary of Defense. The Secretary of Defense is in charge of keeping us safe and keeping the men and women in our armed forces and the civilians safe. So you need someone who's a steady hand. You need someone who's had experience in this kind of stuff. You need someone, when he shows up to a meeting, you're sure that he knows all the facts and is going to be able to conduct himself properly. If there's any cabinet that should be universally trusted and uncontroversial, it's the Secretary of Defense. Unfortunately, Mr. Hegseth is neither. He's neither trusted nor free of controversy, and I will strongly vote no. I want my colleagues to think about how absurd it is that this nominee has even made it to the floor. It's a shame that that has happened. We are being tasked to trust our armed forces to a man with a history of erratic behavior. One of the kindest words that might be used to describe Mr. Hegseth is erratic. And that's a quality you don't want as head of DoD. He has a history of excessive drinking, of alleged domestic abuse, and zero experience leading a large organization of any kind. The new allegations that came out yesterday are even more troubling. And people say, well, how do we know they're true? Well, first, the person who did it has no strike against her. But second, it just corroborates in an even worse way of what we've known about Hegseth in the past. He has a clear problem of judgment, as you've seen by his statements. It's like saying your heart surgeon has twitchy hands, but I'll let him do surgery on me. No one would do that. How on earth can America entrust our safety and security to a man who has allegedly shown up to work and other events inebriated? What if he shows up inebriated during a crisis? What's going to happen? This is dangerous. If confirmed, he'd be in charge of a workforce of over 3 million people, a budget of $850 billion. Where in his history that shows he's capable of doing that? And what if his erratic behavior spills over to his job at the Pentagon, a high-pressure job, and when people are having this behavior, usually high-pressure jobs make them more, not less erratic? What mystifies me so much about Mr. Hegseth's nomination is that there are so many other conservative defense leaders that President Trump could have nominated. People I wouldn't agree with maybe ideologically and on some of the issues that affect Secretary of Defense, but people who'd be capable of running the department. I know there are plenty of Republican senators who would instantly make a better option than Mr. Hegseth. Is Pete Hegseth really the best the Republicans have to offer? How low has this party come in making him the nominee? I don't believe he's the best. I don't believe he's close to the best. I will be voting with complete conviction, no. Given his history, confirming Mr. Hegseth is simply put a risky roll of the dice that Americans cannot afford, especially in such an important position. Another of these pantheon of just awful nominees, not all of them are awful at all, but some are, too many are, is Russell Vought. With his nomination to be OMB director, Donald Trump has made it official. Project 2025 is coming to the White House. The man who was the chief cook and bottle washer for 2025, who pushed it, who endorsed it, is now in one of the most powerful and sensitive positions in the government, OMB, which has a say over all government programs. Golden age? Sure not going to be a golden age for the American people if Mr. Vought becomes the head of OMB. It's one of the most important agencies in the government. They oversee every federal agency, every town, every locality. Every family is going to be affected. You want to get your drug prices lower? Vought doesn't like that. Look at 2025. You want to feed hungry kids? Vought doesn't like that. Look at 2025. You want to preserve and expend $35 insulin? Vought doesn't like that. You want to make the tax system fairer, not have tax cuts for the very wealthy, but help the middle class with tax breaks? Vought doesn't like that. He wants it to go to the wealthy. I asked him what part, he was in my office yesterday. I asked him what part of 2025 would he disagree with. He couldn't point to a single one. In this panoply of awful proposals, he couldn't name a single one he didn't like. He's also a proponent of impoundment of funds. It may be unconstitutional, but it could cause real damage as the cases would go through the courts when he's sued for it. And that means he can pick what he doesn't like and just end it, even if Congress has lawfully voted for it in a bipartisan way. So this man would be devastating to the families of America if he got into office. I hope my Republican colleagues will look at his record and vote against him. Nobody can claim to be pro-worker and then vote for Russell Vought.